One of my earliest games was Ted Superface. Ted was itself a series, but this video is specifically about the Superface series. This series ran for 3 episodes, each one increasing in game length and quality, but each one just as silly and random as the last. But I'm sure you've come to expect randomness from most of our games by now. This series, like all my pre-RPG Maker games, was made in the Games Factory, and each one was a simple platformer game. Let's first take a look at the first game, Ted Superface. Ted is a face with special powers, at least that's what we assume, as there is no storyline shown or even briefly mentioned. But in this particular game, Ted is on a quest to find his lost girlfriend. To get to her, he must go through a series of very strange levels. He must also fight through various evil creatures using the power of the Blech Ball, which he spits from his mouth. Hence the name Blech. This first game was made in 1998 to 1999, and was one of my very first games I'd ever made, so that's the main reason that it was pretty darn terrible. For a random bit of trivia, some of the levels in this game, Episode 1, were inspired by Tomb Raider in a roundabout kind of way. As a kid I used to draw a lot of level layouts on paper. Some of them are Tomb Raider theme, as I was largely into Tomb Raider games at the time, and still am, for that matter. And once I started using the Games Factory, I of course wanted to make my level designs into actual levels in a real game. Thus, game making became a huge part of my life. Now let's move on to Superface Episode 2, my personal favourite of the series, as it is far better and more fun and interesting than Episode 1, and isn't as repetitive as Episode 3, but we'll get to that one soon enough.
This is the second episode in the Ted series, Superface 2!
Much like Episode 1, Episode 2 has little to no storyline or meaning. It was a series of random levels thrown together, with random events taking place that have no connection. But in the end of the game, a storyline is suddenly thrown in. Apparently, all the monsters, being led by the ice creatures, were planning to destroy the planet, and of course you need to stop them.
I'm too sexy for my shirt, too sexy for my shirt, so sexy it hurts.
This episode was made from 2000 to 2001, and unfortunately suffers a lot from computer advancements throughout the years since then, making a lot of the levels unfinishable. The other 2 episodes also suffer from this, but not quite as much as this one. Of course, if I ever end up making these games available for download, I would fix any unfinishable level in some way, and probably improve various other small aspects of the game, making it overall more enjoyable.
This is the 3rd episode in the Ted series, Superface 3.
And finally, Superface Episode 3, the final episode. A lot longer than even Episodes 1 and 2 combined, but unfinished, and will unfortunately never be finished. As with the first 2 episodes, no overall storyline is mentioned, at least not in what was made of the game, but rather, in this game, you visit many different themed places, like in Episode 2. Islands, a boat, lava caves, even space. And each of the places give you their own little intro, telling you what your mission is for the location. This game was made from 2000 to 2002, and that is the year that work on the game was stopped, due to becoming bored with where the game was going. Where was it going? Absolutely nowhere. It was level after boring repetitive level, with a few bosses thrown in, often working in very similar ways. Spam the shoot button, dodge projectiles. Spam the shoot button, dodge projectiles. Repeat until boss explodes.
Explode!
But at least the first half or so of what's made of the game was enjoyable, in my opinion, and felt like the game was going somewhere good. It felt more polished. But it wasn't to be, and I believe this was the final game that I was making in the Games Factory. After that, I moved on to RPG Maker 2000, and started making the likes of Dragon Knight, and of course the main series of my life, Virus Bloke. But those are games for other videos. Maybe someday these 3 episodes of Ted Superface will be made available for free download. But I wouldn't expect them anytime soon, as they will require many fixes before being playable. But for now, thanks for watching, and perhaps someday I shall make a video for the rest of the Ted series, but they're barely worth mentioning. See you next time.
Yeah.